Hey, welcome back to the channel, and today we have One Night's Pilgrimage by Megan033. As you see, this is a Fog of War, one of my favorite, and a lot of yours favorites as well. So we've done a bunch of Fog of War puzzles from Megan033. Always love them. So I wanted to jump right into another one and see if we can get this one figured out. So let's get started on our rules. So we got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. The grid is partially covered with fog. Correctly placed digits will clear the fog around that cell. No guessing is required. So what does that mean? Well, as you can see, there's only certain areas that are clear of fog. If you were to guess what this digit was, without guessing, if you were to figure out what this digit was, it would clear all of the fog around it, and therefore you could see everything, whatever the clues may be in those spaces. There may not be any clues, who knows? That's the point of Fog of War. You can't see it until you get to it. Now, the rest of the rules are cells separated by a knight's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. So in in chess, a knight moves in like an L-shaped pattern. So let's say this is your knight. It could move this way, this way, this way, etc., etc. So all of these areas here see this cell by knight's move. So therefore, none of these can be the same digit as that one. And that applies throughout the grid, just in the same fashion. This one and this one could not be the same digit. Now, digits in a cage do not repeat. It's under the clue in the top left corner. They're called killer cages. Essentially, you can't see any full cage at the moment, but looking at this one, or let's look at this one. In fact, we know that this is part of the cage, and we know that it extends in some way this way, and it could go beyond it. But whatever this is, let's just say it does that for random purposes. It just means that whatever these digits are must add up to that digit that is shown in the top left corner. In this instance, it's 7. So however many cells this cage is, they must add up to 7, whatever's in them, and they cannot repeat. Now, we also have digits along each thermometer must increase starting from the bulb end. Now, as you can see, or as you can't see, we cannot see any thermometers on this one. So I'll just make an example. Let's say this is the bulb of our thermometer and this is the tip down here. The bulb would be the lowest digit on the thermometer, and it would rise until it got to the tip. And the tip would be the highest digit on that thermometer. And those are all of our rules. So with that said, let's jump into this one and see if we can figure it out. Now, as I was mentioning, and I kind of towed the line because I didn't want to start making definite understandings of where these cages go. But when we're looking at these cages, they're all at least 2 digits long, or 2 cells long. Now, some we can say that they are absolutely only 2 cells long, like all of the 5s and this 3 right here, because we know that this cell is not contained in this one thing, so we can see it trailing off into the mist or the fog. So therefore, it must take at least 2 cells. Now, a 5 cannot ever go beyond a 2-cell killer cage because there's no way to add up 3 digits in normal Sudoku and still not go beyond 5. Same goes with 3. We know this is a 2-cell cage. We know it's going to end here because there's only one way to make 3 in a 2-cell cage, and it's 1 and 2, so we can just put that in for now. Now, knowing that this is 1 and 2, does that help us? Because, I mean, we can sit here and color things in or outline things to try to get our cages figured out. But I don't know that that's the best way to go about this. Now, it says One Night's Pilgrimage as its title, and I like to look back at the title after I get started if there's no clear way to go about looking at this. And so it looks like there's going to be the night constraint is going to be pointing us in certain ways, but we have to figure out where that occurs. So what's the good way to, I mean, one other thing we can look at is, or at least state, we don't necessarily have, I'm not necessarily going to put them in, but I might state it. And I could a 2-cell 5 cage. There's only two ways to make it. Got my hand caught underneath my my boom for my mic there. It's either 4, 1, or 2, 3. That's it. You can't make a 5 in 2 cells any other way. Now, what we can kind of say about that, and it doesn't appear that it's all that useful, actually, but maybe it is. If we were to say this is one of the two versions, 1.4 or 2.3, it doesn't matter which one it is, but it's one of those two versions. That's all it can be. Well, we would know that this one has to be the opposite version, because if I put a 1.4 in here, I couldn't put a 1.4 in here because this could never have a valid value. So this is its own version. Now, that said, does that give us anything on these other ones? And I don't know that it does, because of the fact that none of them really see enough of each other in terms of a knight's move. Now we know this one sees this digit, and this one will see this digit. But all that's doing is saying that if this was a green 5, that this digit and this digit are the same. And therefore this digit and this digit are the same. But if it was a blue 5, we're saying that this digit and this digit are the same. This digit and this digit are the same. But that doesn't remove the possibility of either being a possibility. So is there anywhere further we can look? Now, can we do anything with these other groupings of 5s? It doesn't look like it, because once again, this could be a green and this could be a green as well. They would just have opposing digits, you know, in diagonally opposed to each other. Now, the other cages in here do not provide us with a ton of information just yet, because 7s and 8s can be 2-cell or 3-cell. I cannot say that this doesn't continue to a 3-cell. It's only 2. At least I don't think I can. It may be the case that that is true, but I don't necessarily know that. So let's look at it a little closer, though, because it could be. The problem with that is there's multiple possibilities for each of these 7 cages. Now, for all we know, this could be a 2-cell 7, this could be a 2-cell 7, this could be a 2-cell 7. If we ever have a 3-cell 7, we know it's 1, 2, 4. That's the only way to make a 7 out of 3 cells. But, again, we can't, first off, say that's a fact, and we don't know where, if any of these have a 3rd cell, where they go. So, is it possible to rule out the possibility of a 3-cell 7 in any of these instances? Now, that's a good question. Well, I guess we can, actually. Can't we? If this was a 3-cell 7, it would have to be 1, 2, and 4. We don't know where it goes. We know it would either go this way or go this way, because it can't go up this way because it's blocked off there, and it can't continue down because there's a 7 here. Let's look at that for a second, because I think there might be something there. Now, if this was a 3-cell cage, let's say it goes this way for now, and it's a 7. It would have to be a 1, 2, 4. Now, the 1, 2 couldn't be here, because if you put a 1 here, you're blocking off both of these that can't be 1s, but we know you have to have 1 here. If this was a 1 or a 2, it would break as well. So therefore, this one I think we can say cannot be a 3-cell 7 cage, because if it is a 3-cell 7 cage, we have to use 1, 2, and 4, but we cannot put 1 or 2 in either of 2 of them. So wherever the third one is where both the 1 and the 2 would have to be. And therefore, that does not work. So this actually is a 2-cell 7. Let's see if I can mark this in such a way where it's clear. Green might not be the best color because I used it here. Let's use purple. And we'll use purple as, I'll just use it generically throughout of where our cages have to be. Again, this is a visual exercise only. Now, is it possible for this to be a 3-cell 7? And I think the answer, well, no, not necessarily. Hold on a second. This cell sees both of these cells. No, sorry. This cell sees this cell. This cell sees this cell. If we were to make some sort of 1, 2, 4, I'm just going to type it in as an example. If this was a 1, it would force this to be a 1. Same with if it was a 2. Now, if it was a 4, we would end up having this cell be the same as this cell, and this cell would be the same as this cell. So I don't know that we can rule out this one being a 3-cell 7 unless there's a math way we can look at it. Because either it does this or this, it always stays within its boundaries. So the idea would be to say, hey, if this is 7 and this is 5, we're only up to 12 right now. We've got 33 left to go in 4 cages. Now, you can't do 33 in 4 cages. So therefore, we are limiting that 7-cell, the 7 cage, I believe. Let me think about it again real quick. 9876 equals 30. That's the highest you can ever do it. 30 plus 7 is 37, obviously. Plus another 5 is only 32. So therefore, this cannot create 3 cells. It must be a 2-cell. Okay, so that does actually work. Now, I hope you guys can't hear. We've got construction going all around us. But I think my gate is pretty good to hide any kind of background noise. So we know these are 2 cells. Can we know anything about this one? I don't know that we can. And I don't know if I'm overcomplicating things either by trying to work it out this direction, but let's keep going with it. A little caffeine to maybe get the brain muscles working. Now, there's not because we've limited these to 2 cells, there's not really enough information there to say what they are. Or is there? Because there's multiple ways you can make a 7 of 2 cells. It's 6, 1. Well, I guess we can make the determination now that I've just looked at it that way. The possibilities are 6, 1, 5, 2, and 4, 3. Could you ever make this 6, 1, 7? The answer is no, because no matter where you put the 1, you're going to see both 1s. Can we ever make this a 5, 2, 2-cell 7? The answer again is going to be no, because wherever you put the 2, you're going to see the 2. So this actually has to be a 4, 3. That's interesting. Now, if this is a 4, 3, this now, what is its limitations? Again, it goes to either 6, 1 or 5, 2. What can we say about that? What can we say about that? Yeah, because we know this can't be a 3 or 4, so this can't be a 3, 4, 7. And it really wouldn't have been anyway, because you put a 3, 4 in this 7 cage. What do you put in the 5? That would be another way to look at it. Now, I was wondering if we could then start to differentiate this 5 because of that same concept. Because this either needs to be any of these, doesn't matter which one, I guess, at the moment. I was just thinking about it, is 4, 1, and 2, 3. If we were to be able to get this 7 down to something usable, can we figure out what the 5 becomes? Can we? If it's a 6, 1, it doesn't really tell us anything, does it? Or I'm not seeing it properly. So let's say it was a 6, 1. The 1 could go either position. It would just be telling us where the 1 goes up here. Same goes with the 5, 2 condition. 5, 2 could go in either one, or the 2 can go in either one. It would just be then seeing by Knight's move this box and then determining where that 2 would go. Okay. This, again, the 5, I mean, I don't see how I can make the determination of what these are and how to differentiate them. What the heck do I do? Well, I guess what we can say is this can't be 3 or 4, because there it would see both of these. So therefore it's either 1 or 2. Now, if it's 1 or 2, that means this is either 3 or 4. And if it's 3 or 4, let me just make sure I said that correctly. I don't want to go down this path and be just wrong. The only options are 1, 2, 3, or 4 here. It cannot be 3 or 4 because they see both of these. So yes, this does have to be 1 or 2. If this is 1 or 2, this has to be the complement, which is 3 or 4. Which then, all that means now is that this I don't think we can say what this can be, can we? Or am I just not being able to think about it again? Because this is like this one down here, it's going to be either 4, 1 or 2, 3. It's just going to tell us what this one ends up being, but it doesn't limit either. This one, well, what about this digit now? It sees both of these, and they're going to have to be different. So this is never a 1 or a 2, which means this is never a 5 or a 6. So we can start determining a little bit, I guess, as to which 1, 2 color this is going to be. I'm going to get rid of these colors because I'm going to switch to a different coloring system. This is a 1, 2 of some brand. I don't know what it is. This will be the same 1, 2 digit. These are the same value. This is the other value of 1 or 2. so is this because it sees that one. Now, this one cannot be I. Okay, so visually now that I put that in here, I can see that this cannot be the 1 or 2. Okay. And it's probably because I could rule out this one being a 1, 2. So now this cannot be a 1 or a 2. So it has to be a 3 or a 4, which means this has to be a 1 or a 2. Now, if this has to be a 1 or 2, it has to be a blue 1, 2, because there's already a green 1, 2 here. Now, and we go further. We know that this cannot be a blue 1, 2 here, but it could be here. I can't rule out the same thing with 1, 2s here in this 5 yet, I don't think. Because while I can see this one by this 1, 2, the blue 1, 2, this portion of the 5 sees neither of these. So therefore, I can't rule out that this is a green 1, 2, and I can't rule out that this is a green 1, 2. I can't also rule out this is a blue 1, 2. Okay. What else are we looking at? Can we do similar with our 3, 4s, perhaps? Let's say this is a specific 3, 4. This has to be a different 3, 4 because it sees it via Knight's move, and this sees it just by Sudoku. Now, we know that there has to be a 3 or a 4 in this 5. And it therefore can't be a red 3, 4. This is a red 3, 4. So we have to have a yellow 3, 4. Can we determine what the yellow 3, 4 goes with? And I don't know that I can. I'm going to put a little streak here on our 3, 4, knowing that we do have a yellow 3, 4 somewhere in this 5. Now, can we start doing anything with just coloring kind of on the board itself? Because we know none of these can be a red 3, 4. This one can't be a red 3, 4, so it forces it up here. Does that work in any other capacity? Like none of these can be 3, 4. These can't be a red 3, 4, is what I meant to say. The same, I guess we could say for the green 1, 2s. Like none of those could be a 1, 2, a green 1, 2. But I can't rule this out as being a green 1, 2. If I could, I would then know that this has to be a blue 1, 2. I mean, if I could rule this out as being, this would have to be a green 1, 2, and therefore it would have to pair with a yellow 3, 4, because the blue 1, 2 pairs with the red 3, 4. This is getting a little confusing. It's a bit in my mind, but we're getting somewhere, I think. Just albeit very slowly. Now we can't do much over here. We can do the same concept with the blue 1, 2. Either of these could be a blue 1, 2. Well, I do know that if this has to have a yellow 3, 4 in it, I didn't see this until right now. If this has to have a yellow 3, 4 in it, it cannot have a blue 1, 2 in it. So therefore it has to have a green 1, 2. Because the yellow 1, 2 in our 5 is going to have to correlate to our yellow 3, 4, because the blue and red are already paired up. Okay. Now, where do I ever get digits? Where do I get something to help me move beyond this stuff, this fog at the moment? Well, I know, let's look at this blue 1, 2 and this cage here. Now, it can't go there or there because of Knight's move, so this has to be a blue 1, 2. Now, none of these can be a blue 1, 2. None of those could be, we already said. None of these can be. We can't really do anything on these other ones. Well, we know that the 5 doesn't have a blue 1, 2 in it. I'm gonna finish this just for my own visual satisfaction and see if this takes me anywhere. Don't see anything further. Was it possible to do anything with the green 1, 2? No, it doesn't appear to, because it just goes up into here somewhere and hides away. Now we know none of these can be green 1, 2, but good as that, right? Again, I'm just kind of marking things so that I can see them. We know that none of these are green 1, 2. And none of those can be. Why did I do that? I didn't mean to do that. This can never be a... No, that's not correct. This can be... What I thought I saw and I didn't was, if this was a green 1, 2, it would rule out all of these, but you could still put the green 1, 2 right here. And that would work perfectly fine. Okay. Can we go anywhere with our red 3, 4s? We also know that none of those can be a red 3, 4. So what did we say? Was that the red 3? We already looked at the red 3, 4 up here, didn't we? Yeah, so this was a red 3, 4. Let me just put that in real quick. And then we knew none of those could be, but one of those is bleh. Excuse me. Like we said, none of those are 1, 2, or blue 1, 2s. But it doesn't rule out either of those being the case. I'm wondering if there's some way to determine if this is a 2-cell or a 3-cell. Is it possible? Because this digit here could never be a 1 or a 2. Because it sees this blue 1, 2, and it sees both the options of this being a 1 or a 2. Now, it also can't be a 3, 4. So this is not 1, 2, or 3, 4. So it has to be 5 or 6. Okay. Now, if this has to be 5 or 6, this is forced to be a 1, 2. There we go. Because we cannot, once we get up to 5, have a 3-cell 7 cage. So let's put that in. Okay. That's something. Let's get off of that. I don't want to be on there. So we know that this 1, 2 is now green. Good. And that tells us that this is not green. This is. So we've got our green 1, 2 in a location now that we can say none of those are. So one of these is. None of these are. So one of these is. And I'm going to start putting these flash marked ones in just because it seems to be helping me visually for the moment. Now, we know that none of these, that or that, can be a green 1, 2, because we had these two over here, we just said, so none of these can be. We've got these two here blocking out all of those, and that one sees both those by knight's move. So this is a 1, 2. And it is green. Therefore, this must be a yellow 3, 4. I'm going to keep putting these 3 4s in there, I guess. Although it's not necessarily helping me do anything, I don't think, at the moment. Now, we know that this is a green, so therefore this isn't a green. So we can get rid of it and say that this is. Are we more or less done with our greens? No, we're not. Because we get a green up here. And we get a green in one of these 4. All the other ones seem to be working quite well. Now, is there anything we can do with this 8 cage? I'm going to hold off on it for just a second while I look at something else. Now, we know these two are the same digit, and I'm kind of running out of colors here. I don't like that orange at all, and the gray is not going to show, so I'll just leave them as selected gray. And the reason why we know these are the same digit is because we know that these two are the same digit, and these are both 2 cell 7s, so whatever adds up to either one of those has to be the same to be the correct digit. So none of these could be a 5 6, let's say, and that couldn't be a 5 6, and we know that this isn't a 5 6 because it's already a blue 1 2, so this is 5 6. Well, this knight is taking a pilgrimage. Now, anything further that we can keep doing with these 5s and 6s, perhaps? Because if we put a 5 or a 6 and an 8, that doesn't necessarily tell us. Well, let's think about that in a different way. Let's look at this 8 cage for a second. Is it possible that this could be a 3 cell 8 cage? If it is, it must have a 1 on it. Now, let's break it down. We know we have 2 of the 3, if there is 3. This one can never be a 1 because it sees both of these 1 2s. This can never be a 1 because it sees both of these and these 2 as well, but that was more obvious. So we know that, yeah, we know there can't be a 1 on this 8 cage, so therefore it cannot be a 2 or 3 cell. Let me finish the thought just so it's not lingering out there and somebody's not following me. So we know this can't be a 1, this can't be a 1. The only ways that this can go into a 3 cell is if it goes here, here, or here. Now, this one right here sees both these, and so does this one, so neither of those options is accurate. Now, this one right here sees both of these, so this one can't be, so there can never be a 1 on this 8 cell, which means it is a 2 cell 8 cage. Now, we know it cannot have a 1 on it. We also know it cannot have a 2 for the exact same reasoning we kind of went through here. This sees green and blue. This sees green and blue. So it can't have a 1 or a 2 on it. So therefore, it can't be 7 1 and it can't be 6 2. Well, what's left over is 5 3. So this has to be a 5 3 pair. And now we have a digit. And I'm prepared to put a 4 in all of those. And we are correct. Yes, we got our breakthrough. All right. So now that we know that the yellows are 4s, we can tell exactly what our greens are, because the green must add up. And we can do red as well, but let's do green first. We've got 4. These have to all be 1s. So let's pop those in there. Now our 4, since it's in a 2 cell 7 cage, must go with a 3. So our reds are all 3s. And therefore our blues, we could have gotten it from that being a 1, are all 2s. Now, I think what I want to do is remove a bunch of miscellaneous lines, because I don't know about you, but when we've gotten things opened up, it becomes very hard for me to see things. I guess it's just something to do with my visual acuity or something along those lines, but it makes things harder for me to see. So I'm going to pop this 2 in here because we know it's there, and I'm going to get rid of my blue coloring. I'll put the 1 up in here and then get rid of my green coloring. Oh, wait, let me put it down here as well. and then get rid of my green coloring. Oops, sorry. Delete. No, what are you doing? I didn't mean to delete both of those. Just make sure that white is gone. It doesn't really matter, but okay. Now, the other thing is we have these 3s, which we can get rid of our red color. And there we go. 4 we will remove as well. Now, we are back to having a normal looking Sudoku, and I can see much better. So I'm very happy about that. Now, our 1s have not been completed yet because we don't know where they go. Well, we knew that all of these digits were the same 5, 6, and we know that they are a 6 because this is a 7 cage. So let's put those in. Now, no fog cleared because we'd already cleared everything in the area. Now, this 3, 5 does not see anything yet where we can do anything with it, but we have uncovered we've uncovered a couple of thermometers. What does this thermo mean to anyone? I don't quite know yet. All we know is we can't put a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6 on the bulb. I guess technically it could be 5, 7, or 8. That's more of just writing things in for the sake of doing it, I guess, at this point. Ow. Sorry. Let's go back to our Sudoku. Since we have things opened up a bit, can we go any further? Let's say our 2s or 3s or 4s, because they are all kind of looking at each other. Let's start marking things up. Maybe this will help us to see the light. No, how about 3? Anything with the 3s that we hadn't previously located? Well, none of these can be 3, and oh no, this one could still be a 3, can it? Because it could see. It doesn't see this one. 3s here, not too useful. Anything with the 4s? None of these. This can never be a 4, because this has to at least be a 5, so that's out. So we have a 4 here. Then we have a 4 in one of these 2. Now, can we go any further? This cannot be a 4 because it sees both of these, so therefore this has to be a 4, and that's going to see this one. We get a little bit of fog clear, so we know we're correct. Stop. There we go. That 4 clears out that. Now, none of these can be 4, so this is a 4. And is that going to give us our remaining 4s? I think it is, because that sees that. So now we can hit this and our fog will clear. And we should be able to get all of our 4s here. Yes, we can. And our fog clears. That's all the 4s. Good. Now let's pop back to our 1s real quick, because we know none of these are 1s. But we still have 3 options for it up there. And this one has not been satisfied just yet. 2s, again, we still haven't gotten to a point where we can say yay or nay on some of them. And the 3, I think, is going to continue to be the same. I'm just looking, just making sure. Well, actually, we know a bit more about the 3s than I was thinking, because I forgot about this 3 here. So none of these can be 3. So one of these is. Now, is that useful? I don't know what it is. 4s we said we'd already done. Let's look at 6s, the last digits that we actually have on the table at the moment. I don't expect there to be much use here, but yeah, there's more than I thought there was. This becomes a 6. Therefore, none of those are, but this will be a 6, and one of these will be a 6. We can now rule out all of these being 6s. We can rule out all of these being 6s. So we know one of these is a 6 because of our Sudoku, which means this can't be a 6, which means this is. So let's put our 6 markers in here and our 6 marker here. This one cannot be a 6. I'm glad I have marked these because this sees both of these. So this is not the 6, which means this is. And that further clears fog, which is excellent. So none of these are 6. And that's about as far as we can go there. Now that we have seems like we're at our limit in terms of base Sudoku. May or may not be completely accurate, but what can we do next? We just have these two thermos and an 8 cage that just hasn't quite been settled yet. What can we do with the thermos? Now, really, the only thing I know is this can't be a 1, a 4, or a 6. What does that tell me, if anything? Or do we need to even look at our thermos? They might just be to finalize digits. Like I said, I think I've gone through my ones at this point. I can't rule out anything further. Same with these other Sudoku digits. Oh, that's not the case, sorry. I didn't see the 2s. And that probably didn't occur until I'd put a 6 in there, so that's not 2, so this is 2. So we get 2, 2. Let's get rid of our 2s. So we need to kind of go back and forth, I think, with our Sudokus to see which ones are finalizing, which ones are not. So that 2 now puts a 2 here. Can we rule anything else out? Yes, we can. This is 2, which means this is 2, and then clearing out some more fog. Perfect. So 1s are still kind of sitting out there. I think what I will do is mark these as possibles for 1s. Just because I'd missed a couple things prior, so I don't want to miss them again. 2s are done. 3s are not. And I mean, we know one of these is a 3, so let's see if that affects us over here, because none of these can be. No. Either one of these could still be a 3 and not see both of these. No. None of these can be 3, because these two, oh no, that's not correct. This one can't be a 3 because it sees both of these. Can this be a 3? It absolutely could be. No, it doesn't look like there's anything there that I can really roll with any further, so. I said our 4s were done, sorry. 6s. Again, we had put most of them in, but we can't finalize them because the 6s are taking up the same spot the 1s are up in this cage here. Now, if we can find one more digit that fills those, we'll know we have a triple, and we can start making some other assumptions there, or other assertions. They're not assumptions. We don't want to make assumptions. So do we need to just get down and get this marked up? So the lowest this can be is 5, so therefore the lowest this can be is 6, and it clearly can't be 6. This is 7, 8, or 9. Now this digit sees both of these. Can I use that information in any way, shape, or form? It also sees that one. It's possible that might help me in some way, but I don't see. Let's mark these up real quick just so I have them marked. Now we know it can't be 1, 2. It could be 3. It can't be 4. It could be 5. It can't be 6. It could be 7. Those are the only options here. I don't like where this is going in that terms because it's not really flushing anything out. Because then this can't be 4, but it could still be like a 5, 7, or 8. This could be 6, 7, 8, or 9. Yeah, so that was not super useful. So where is the next rub. It has to be Sudoku, and it has to have something to do with the knight's moves. So I'm going to run through it one more time, because for some reason I'm not seeing it, and I may just be missing something quite obvious. 2s are done. 3s are not, and they're not even close. Now, all we can say about 3s is they can't be in any of those positions. And we've already noticed that these are where a 3 would go. There's 3 spots here and 3 here. And we know one of these is a 3. We know that none of these can be 3, and this can't be a 3. Now, if we could rule out any of these other options, that would be really nice. But no, I don't see where that is. 4s, we said we're done. We don't have any 5s, 7s, 8s, or 9s. So 6 was the only other item we could look at. Now, if we were to be able to determine, let's say that this was a 6, that would be really nice because it would give us our 5 and our 3, but we can't get there. At least not from where we stand today. Okay, so what's left? Where can we look? Because this is not helping at the moment. We know these have to be from 7, 8, and 9. It's all that's left over. If this was 8, let's say, it would force an 8 here and a 9 here, which is perfectly fine. It does nothing for me. Oh, I was being blind. Where does a 5 go in here? That is the obvious answer. 5 can't go in any of those. This, for some reason, the markups here, just this one right there, is I'm not seeing very well. So this is a 5. That would therefore gives me my 3 and my 5, which is going to start propagating and give me probably a good chunk of the rest of what we need to do. So what's left for 3? We can rule out all of these, which means we have to now put a 3 down here, which means this can't be 3, so this is. Okay, that does clear up more fog. And can we do anything else with our 3? It doesn't appear like we can. Yeah, because we have these up here, we have this down here, and we have this down here. Now what we're mostly left with are 7s, 8s, and 9s, but there's a few smatterings of other digits. Now, we got a couple of 5s, so let's look at those, because we have not seen those yet at this stage. So there's no 5s in any of them. One of these is a 5, so none of these are 5s. That's not a 5. This is a 5. Okay. Continue with our 5s. None of these can be 5. Leaves one of these two, but none of these could be. None of these are. That's not. Get rid of all of these as options. Get rid of all of those as options, like we said previously. And what? We can get rid of some here. Let's do my full, because I get blind very easily. Now this one can never be a 5 because it sees all of these in here. We know one of these is a 5. Can we use that information? I don't think so. Yeah, I can't rule out any of these either at the moment for the 5 in terms of how they're going to interact with this cage here. How about in here? Is there anything we can do? Don't see it. No. Okay, so I thought 5 might take me a little bit further than it did. I don't want to keep adding 7, 8, 9 because it's just going to muddle my view again. So where, oh where, I'm scanning all over the place just trying to find something right now. I mean, I'll put our 5 up here. And try to figure out where the heck. There's got to be something, one little thing that's just poking out here that I'm not seeing. What is it? None of those could be 5. Come on, buddy. You can do this. I hate getting stuck when it looks like everything's already kind of unraveled itself. There has to be something that I can finish off. These last few digits. There has to be. I'm going to keep saying that until it comes true. Man, I really thought the 5s would keep going down here. For some reason, they don't seem to. Which is interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, this can't be a 5. Well, I should have already known that. I was looking at it in terms of, well, I couldn't have said that. So that would have been a mistake if I had actually followed through with that, with this not being a 5. Okay. What are we doing? What are we doing? Is there anything in terms of rows and columns where we can rule out 5s and 3s, 5s, and 6s? Those are where I'm left. What about this row? Cannot rule out everything. There's 2 spots where it could still go. In this row, we end up with 3 spots. Huh. What am I missing? Why is this got teeth here at the end? I mean, all we're going to see on this is 789. 789 does nothing for me right now. I'm checking my clues, make sure I didn't make an error in math somewhere that might be holding me up. Kind of want to have lunch, so I'd like to finish this one quickly. Where is it? I just really cannot see it. What am I missing? I keep having to go back because I just cannot determine where there's an exclusion to something here. 2s are just done. 3s are almost done. But not quite. 4s are done. 5s are not done. Fives. I'm sure this is not very exciting viewing right now either, which is another reason why I would like to get this. 6s, I've got nothing. So, I don't know that I've ever had this happen where I've gotten to a point where it looks like it's pretty much done, and then there's just something I cannot see. Is it possible that we can remove options here on this thermo? Because it creates some sort of oddity in the remaining digits. It's possible, but I don't see anything. What if it was like 653? Does that break anything? If it's 653, we end up with fives like this and like this. Therefore, it'd have to be up here and here and here. That all works. The sixes would be like this, that one, and one of these two and one of these two. That works. The threes, here, here. That all works. Right? Yeah. Now, the other way to look at it is sevens, eights, and nines. Now, because I don't have any sevens, eights, or nines already in here, it becomes a lot harder to determine where they are. Wait a second. No, I thought I saw something, but I did not. If this was 7, 8, 9, it would force 6, 6 like that here. But there's nothing wrong with that. Really? Come on now. I do not want to start adding just in digits, but I mean, I don't see what I can do. Let's maybe color in. It might be the only way I can figure this out. Whatever this digit is, which forces it down here with the 1. Whatever this digit is, and therefore these would be the same digit. So this would be a blue. Blue wouldn't be anywhere on those, it'd be one of those two. Purple would be down here somewhere. Blue would be one of these two. So none of these would be, this would be blue. Therefore, none of this is blue. These are blue. That's not blue. One of those two is blue, which means this is blue. Wait, did I just, is that, I think I lost my brain for a second there, hold on. Blue, where can blue go? Can't go any there, can't go there, can't go any of there. It must be one of these two, so that's not blue. So this is blue. So therefore, these are both blue. So this is not 5. That gives me something. Is it enough to continue? Can we do anything else with blue? That can't be blue, because it sees both of them. This can't be blue, it sees both of them. One of these is blue. And it's not that one. This is blue. This has to be 7. And that's what it is. Huh. That was a complete move away from the thought processes that were going through to get me to this point, which forces 6 here. That 6 means this is 6 and 5. Huh, that's just really weird. So blue is 7. That's what we can put in here. Therefore, that's 7. Let's get rid of our blue coloring. Okay, now, we know this is 8. Sorry, my foot was hurting there. This has to be from 3 and 9. Let's put those in. These are not 7, clearly, anymore. This, therefore, has to be a 5, which means this has to be 5. This has to be 3. So, therefore, this is 3, this is 5. Okay. Have we now finished our 3s? We have, because we could put 9 and 3 here. And we get our D2 in the corner. The ones we still have not finalized yet. 2s are done, 3s are done, 4s are done. 5s, are they done? I believe they are, and they're going to finish my 1s as well. These can't be 5, so this is 5, 1, 1. So the 1s are now done. 5. This has to be 5. I think that's all of our 5s now. Okay, finally, we're getting back to where we need to go. 6s are done. 7s, done. 8s. So now we're just down to 8s and 9s, I believe, right? Yeah, there's 2 digits left for all of them. They're 8s and 9s. So this must be 8. This must be 9 because that 9 saw that one. So therefore, the purples are 9s. The greens are 8s. What sees what? This must be 8. So that's 8 and 8. That 8 looks down here. So this is 8. Let me get rid of my coloring because it's not doing me any good. Was that all? This must be 8. And then for the rest of them must be 9. Wow. Check. Where's my check button? You solved the puzzle. Okay. Whew. Well, Megan, that was interesting in that it seemed to really flow in a certain way. And maybe I just didn't see something and it caused me to have to go down a different track. But that took me over an hour and it probably should not have, because I think I sat there for a good 15 minutes trying to figure out the ending of this thing. But it definitely caused me to look to just completely work away from what I was looking at in terms of how everything else was come together. Not a bad thing necessarily. I just I didn't pick it up. But the coloring was the thing that finally got me to figure out the finality here. So anyway, enjoyed it. Another good fog puzzle. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope it wasn't too long. You can always you could have always checked in the descriptions down below and skipped around as you needed to. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.